asked to speak on is valuation and value creation. So my anniversary is this month. What do you think if I were to take out my spouse for dinner on the anniversary? How many marks would I get on a scale of 10? Sorry? 0. What if I were to cook food for her and then serve it at home? Negative तो नहीं हो सकता है, वो तो I think that time is past. Unless she is filing for divorce, that's another story. So clearly, what I'm trying to say is that cooking, creating that table space, creating a candlelight dinner is going to take longer for me, more effort. But from a rough negative, if I put the negative in modular thing, I'll get more marks for doing that as opposed to going ahead and just taking her out for dinner to any restaurant, you know. So it's the same analogy when you talk of valuation and value creation. Now if you were to just bifurcate the organizations into 3 broad pillars, one are startups. One is an organization which is listed and has quarter-on-quarter pressure, and one which is non-listed but is there. In all the 3 organizations, you will face a similar challenge. Do I create money today? Do I have a pressure to deliver today? Or do I have a pressure to deliver for tomorrow? Correct? Startup. And depending on the environment, the answer will change. When a startup is growing and when there is enough money, your valuations, what will happen? They'll shoot through the roof. You will get your seed money, you will get your A, B, C, all done. But when the money is tight, they want to look at your long-term profitability. Correct? At that time, many startups will collapse. Quarter on quarter, for the listed companies, what happens? You're not looking at how I did. So I don't know how many of you all work for listed companies here? Okay. In all your analysis, I'll be surprised. I'm not saying I'm sitting on judgment here, but I'll be surprised if you all don't have a year on year versus budget and a quarter on quarter ka metric to decide the storyline that your CEO and CFO will rattle off to the street. Correct? You will talk of all 3 parameters because there is a quarter on quarter pressure also. In a not listed environment, now again sorry, first come to listed. Depending on what is the kind of story you can say, if you can show them a vision and the street is buying into the vision, then even a drop in a quarter on quarter you can sell. Again, the markets must be good, the environment must be good, otherwise they won't buy your story. So that's on the list. And coming to the last piece, on the non-listed variety, where you don't have a pressure of the street, but you have a pressure of your stakeholder. In this case, probably a larger shareholder. Okay? Or if you are 100% owned, then you are only shareholder. Okay? Wahan par you will have a pressure, you will do 2 things by and large. Most of those companies, in my opinion, will not go for quarter on quarter. They may have a metric, but they won't force you to do that. But they will definitely ask versus last year and versus budget. Correct? This valuation and value creation is the same game. Now valuation is nothing but when you do things which will increase your profits or increase your immediate valuation of the company. It's more short term. Okay, cost cutting. Suddenly you will see a spike in your profits. Okay. Whereas value creation is something which you will do for the long term, innovation. You know, putting in money in a situation where it is not warranted. I mean, you will pull back. Let's say in COVID, if you were to put up after the lockdown that is, if you were to put up a spanking new facility, now there you are building capacity for the long term. It's a double-edged sword, right? What if the capacity doesn't come? It doesn't get filled. You have a asset which is sitting there, a white asset, a white space, whatever it is, and you need to fill. This is a double-edged sword. But if you actually see long term, the companies which succeed, they need to innovate. They need to innovate, they need to create a culture, and all this will happen only when you put in for the long term. Right? So the question is, which one? Which one shall we select? I'll come to that. Brilliant thing. One of my ex-bosses, she was based in Singapore, and she said the power of and, or the anchor and. Actually, the answer is neither selecting valuation nor selecting value creation. You have to do both parallelly. That is only the way you can sustain long-term goals. Now, I'll give you an example why I say it. Because otherwise it will be a theory session, I'll give gyan, and you all will scratch your heads ki bol ke kya gaya. ठीक है? Listed company in India, fantastic brand, okay? But somewhere they said, let's go for profits. So they started if the commodity price increased, their input price increased. Now they wanted to show the street that I am doing better quarter on quarter. So what did they do? They said, I need to maintain my gross margin percentage. So jitna se commodity price बढ़ता है, I will increase my sale price by the same percentage, if not more. What happened? What do you think happened? They got their percentage, but the volumes tanked. Okay? The volumes tanked. They held on to the revenue year after year. It was like a dead man's graph. Holding on to the revenue straight, flat. The profit flat. What was competition doing during that time? Competition held on to the revenue or the sale price, my apologies, and they went ahead and sold their volumes at a lower price than this company. Obviously input prices unke bhi badhe hain, but they managed to take a lower gross margin. They took a longer term view that as long as I am profitable and as long as I am getting my volumes, I'll grow in the long term. This company which kept on increasing prices, they at the cost of volumes, what happened? What do you think happened to the company? Six years CAGR, top line CAGR was 0 or maybe 2%, 1%. And what drove this behavior, if you may? What do you think drove this behavior? Multinational, okay? Not, there's no dearth of talent, but what drove this behavior? What do you think drove this behavior? The ESOPs. ESOPs were mark to market, right? The moment you would quarter results you would release, your ESOP valuation will go up because you given shares which were marked to the market. So that is the other piece, that when you want value creation, you should incentivize your team towards the correct direction. Else you will look at a valuation game only, you will not look at value creation. Now, having said this example, how do you think one can do both? So we agreed that the answer lies in the and. How do you think we can do both so that we get our valuation and we get our value creation? Brilliant point. One is, if I were to just rephrase your statement, it's your innovation. Innovation is one thing. Now innovation can be, as you said, product mix. When you continuously upgrade your products, okay. Second, innovation in technology. When you can hold onto your customer because of a unique product offering that you have. 3, customer experience. I'll just stick to 3. There will be a long tail also, okay? But I'm not going to the long tail. Let's look at, and I'll go reverse. Let's look at customer experience. How many of us buy from Amazon? Most of us, right? I don't think any one of us would not have an Amazon app on our phones. Correct? Why? And we have competing e-commerce players also. But given a choice, why do you think we want to go to Amazon? It's the experience we feel, right? The fact that if I make a mistake, if I call up Amazon, they'll do something about it. The trust that they will hear me out and do something about it. Okay? We don't go to competing unless it's a commodity and I'm really getting a disproportionate price. Okay? That is 1. 2, why do we still go to Amazon? The tech, the app. There is nothing which is even close to that app. Correct? There is nothing close to that app anywhere. Unless, and please feel free to raise your hands and disagree with me if you, because it's a two-way session, otherwise it will be just a one-way gyan. That's not how it works. I'm only here to share my experience and my thoughts. Because of the tech that they deliver, which most companies, let's be honest about it, have tried to copy, but have they been able to come to that level, degree of sophistication or that degree of ease? My humble opinion, answer is no. At least for me. For me, if X e-commerce company owned by one of the biggies in the world and Amazon, agar Amazon is 5% costly also, no? I'll still go with Amazon. That's me. I'm not saying that is truth or that should be the mantra. But it's the amount I'm willing to pay for that experience. Right? Why? That in a competing world, he has already got me to pay that 5% extra. And where is that 5% going? To his bottom line. Right? It's going to Amazon's bottom line. So, through a better customer experience, he has created long-term value for him. But what has he done? And I'm sorry, he is in the neuter gender, okay? It's an it. Agar Sanskrit padhenge, to there's a neuter gender also. There's 3 genders in Sanskrit. There's a neuter gender also. So, he's also playing the valuation game also. He's creating value by forcing me to pay that 5% extra, not forcing. I'm paying it of my own volition. But he's also creating valuation. Why? He's ensuring his price is, if not the lowest, it's equal to the lowest or there in that range. Otherwise, I'm not going to go to him. If there's going to be a substantial difference, I'm going to go to a competition, right? 1000 rupees ki cheez, I'm not going to pay 2000 to Amazon. 1000 ka 1050 I may still want to pay. But I'm going to pay 2000. Correct? So that is what you have to do. Now, how do you translate that into your organization? Culture. Absolutely critical. Okay? The skill and the will of the people. Mind you, and I'm stressing on both the points, the skill and the will. Why? Unless you have the skill, your delegation, which people want, will go for a toss. And agar will nahi hai, so no amount of delegation, no amount of enticement will make those people work. And lastly, the ability of your tech. And today, let's be honest, if we believe that we are organizations where, I'm not a tech organization. Within inverted commas, the loosely termed IT. I'm not an IT company. If we believe that, we are doomed. Every organization, whether it's selling products or services, in today's day and age is an IT organization, somewhere. If you don't think about technology, the company would become a dinosaur. We sell services, my organization, right? What am I doing? I have to create a platform where the customer will come onto my platform. What am I doing? This is technology. What does my customer want? That for his goods that I move, he should be able to track it. I need to give him that visibility. So it's all about technology today. Even something like GST. You know, and I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for all. ज़माना था जब इनकम टैक्स के जब बजट होता था ना, the first thing the vendor would do, कल दोपहर तक आपके वो, what is the name of the book also I've forgotten, the income tax act, the new income tax act, का जो the act per se, not the this thing, would come on my table the next day. It's been a few years that I have not seen those acts anymore. Right? Why? The GST is no longer the game where you need to understand the law. You need to understand the law, I'm not saying no, but you don't only need to understand the law, because there is a large part of the thing which tech is doing. Whether it's your own ERP or you have bought a customized software from somewhere, there are multiple companies which sell, it's all there. So this is, all the three of us is talking of value creation. While and when you are keeping your lights on to compete in the market for today, you are creating valuation. While you do all the rest to create value creation. So when you compete for today, when you build your culture, when you build your people, when you build your technology, when you are innovating, while doing this, you are doing valuation and value creation. Yeah, this time's up. That's what the screen tells me. I do hope I have been able to add any value, some value to your database, much like I sometimes would have learnt in your place. So thank you so much.